is plastic waste? Plastic waste or plastic pollution is the accumulation of plastic objects such as plastic bottles and much more in the earth environment that adversely affects wildlife habitat and humans. It also refers to the significant amount of plastic that isn't recycled and ends up in landfill or in the developing world thrown into unregulated dump sites. The plastics that isn't recycled enters our environment, polluting our oceans and causing damage to our ecosystem. In less developed countries, the majority of plastic waste eventually ends up in the ocean, meaning that marine animals are especially at risk. Why has plastic become a global problem? Since the late 20th century, we have depended on plastic as an affordable, versatile and durable material. However, since the majority of plastic materials take over 400 years or more to degrade due to its chemical structure, all of the plastic that has been sent to landfills still exists, and yet we are still producing and consuming more of it. Since its commercial development in the 1950s, plastic has been a real success. Its global production is growing exponentially. Its success comes from its remarkable qualities such as ease of shaping, low cost, mechanical resistance, etc. Being the ideal material for packaging, plastic is basically everywhere. But what are the causes of plastic pollution? The first one will be because of the rising human population and the dependence on plastic. In 2011, the world population reached the 7 billion mark, and today it is estimated that there are roughly 7.9 billion humans on the planet as of June, based on the data by the World Population Review. With the rise of the human population, you can also expect the demand for plastic to increase, and in turn, the rubbish that they can accommodate within their lifetime. The average American person produces almost 35 kilos of plastic bottles and other similar products as trash. While this figure may be higher or lower in other countries, it gives us an idea on how dependent people are on plastic products. It also reflects our inability or unwillingness to recycle or reuse these single-use plastic products. Secondly, the food industry, which packs everything on plastic. About a third of the plastic that pollutes our land and oceans are from food wrappers. Packaging companies have used plastic to wrap and preserve food because it is much cheaper to produce than any other alternative such as paper. Plastic also resists water and moisture, which is essential in making sure that the food inside won't get spoiled. However, when plastic is ingested by animals and birds, they don't break down and excrete it, unlike other organic materials. The toxic chemicals from the plastic can also poison the animal or block their digestive system, which eventually leads to their death. While there are alternatives such as using reusable bags made of paper and other biodegradable materials, very few food companies are willing to compromise with this solution. Other than that, negligence is also one of the main causes. In fact, it is estimated that 80% of the marine litter comes from land. This pollution comes mainly from household waste, which is poorly recycled, dumped in landfills or abandoned in nature. This waste is carried by the winds, pushed by the rains into sewers, streams, rivers, and finally in the oceans. Natural disasters such as floods must be considered as other causes of plastic pollution as well. Lastly, plastic pollution is caused by inadequate waste disposal. Globally, more than 8 billion metric tons of plastic have been produced since its first large-scale use in the 1950s. About 6.3 billion metric tons of that has been turned into waste. Of that, only 9% was recycled and 12% was incinerated. The rest went into landfills, rivers, and oceans. There, its durability and asset in packaging becomes a liability. It takes hundreds to thousands of years to degrade.
Continue to the plastic pollution effect. So basically, plastic pollution can have harmful effects on the land, rivers by affecting wildlife and habitat, but also on human health. According to that, we will separate the effect of plastic pollution into three categories, which is effect on the environment, on animals, and lastly on humans. Moving to the first categories, which is effects on the environment. So basically, these plastic debris represent a chemical pollution in several ways. They contain compounds that can be chemically transferred to organisms during ingestion. Some of these molecules are potentially toxic and can accumulate in the body. Besides that, plastic bags also affect the growth of crops by hindering the process of photosynthesis in agricultural fields. Now, we're moving to the second category, which is effect on animals. So usually, animals will severely affect from the plastic pollution. The most direct effect of plastic pollution is the imprisonment of animals in nets or large debris. It is a cause of significant mortality of marine mammals, turtles, and birds. The second direct effect is ingestion, that concerns the entire food chains of the marine ecosystem. And lastly, the third effect is on humans. Basically, humans affected from this plastic pollution because of the chemical additive used during plastic productions, where plastic have potentially harmful effects on human health. Indeed, exposure to toxic chemicals coming out of plastic can cause cancers, birth defects, impaired immunity, and other health problems.
So now move to the possible solution for plastic waste. The best thing we can do to protect our waterways and environment is try to keep as much plastic as possible out of the waste stream in the first place. There are many small ways that can be practiced to reduce plastic waste. These tips may help us to prevent plastic waste, which is travel in style and with own cutlery. Each day, Americans use over 100 million single-use plastic utensils. To replace them, bring our own cutlery when travel or invest a small travel set that can be left in purse, bag, or glove compartment for easy storage. Even if sustainability and being eco-friendly isn't on our mind, it will at least come in handy anytime you need an extra fork or food, and it will help to avoid plastic pollution. Furthermore, try to avoid plastic waste in the environment. We must never leave any waste on the street, in nature, or in the beach. When you're in this situation, put the rubbish in waste bin. If you cannot find one or it is full, keep your waste with you until you find the next bin. If you put extra waste in a full waste bin, the wind will blow it away and can happen plastic pollution. Okay, next solution, which is reduce the use of microbeads. So microbeads consist of toothpaste, body washes or facial scrubs. It might look harmless, but their tiny size allow them to slip through water treatment plants. Not only that, they also look just like food to some marine animal. So the best way to choose product with natural exfoliants for reduced plastic waste. Last but not least, the last solution for plastic waste is try to avoid the use of plastic disposal material. Rather use a reusable drinking bottle, for example bottle Tupperware or glasses, instead of using disposal cups. Besides that, not using any plastic drinking waters may help to reduce plastic waste. Now move to the conclusion. So overall of this short video is to give an explanation about the causes, effect and the solution about plastic waste, and also give some illustration disadvantage the use of plastic. We believe we can help each other to protect our environment and marine life. So that's all for our
Their
group.
natural food
Thank
source
you.
are squid. And so oftentimes we'll find huge amounts of red items in their gut when they die.
Plastic is dangerous for sea turtles in a lot of different ways. And it's not just sea turtles, it's all animals that live out in the ocean. So for example, for a sea turtle, if there was, let's say, a plastic grocery bag floating in the ocean, a sea turtle may mistake that for food. For example, a jellyfish, what they love to eat. So may eat that, we call that ingestion, when an animal eats the trash or plastic, mistaking that for food.